not for resale. The topic of today's presentation, or NFR. Now, these can dramatically increase your business, and how do I know? Well, I did it. I wanted to spend some time with you today talking about NFRs. Why use them? What should I set up? How do I get them? All of this and more with today's technical webinar from ACDI. Hey now, Doc Walgie with you, and I'm still getting questions about NFRs, so let's see what's going on. Casey Cobb is my wingman. He'll be answering questions as we go along in the chats or the Q&A sections. Now, I get asked to assist dealerships with NFRs frequently, and as you know, working with PaperCut is one of my favorite things to do because it just works. However, many times I get asked to set up an NFR at the same location, and that gives me a chance to reflect on what's going on. Yes, another trivia question at the end of the presentation for your chance to win a very cool ACDI t-shirt or polo, so make sure you pay attention. You know, we live in a crazy microwave society that wants instant gratification on everything. I wonder why we keep doing this to ourselves. I suppose there's reasons why an NFR needs to be reinstalled, but I would think you would want to limit that in your showrooms. Now, I mean, I understand because I've been there. You may be a dealership with multiple lines. Each manufacturer has their software, and they want you to emphasize that. Your resources are already severely limited, if there's any at all, so you have to make a choice. Now, the last dealership I was at, we represented 4 different lines, each with their own idea of print management. And when I looked at the fact that the other print management solutions were really focused on only one manufacturer, it became obvious to me that I wanted to have a system that was agnostic. With that, I could sell the print management concept easily. And as part of my pitch, I would explain that if you didn't like this dealership, you could always switch to another one and keep the print management system since it works with everyone. I also wanted a system that was easy to use, simple installation, and most of all, great support. That's why I used ACDI before joining the company. I didn't keep changing my showroom setup as that would be too hard to manage. I concentrated on one software. And since I was tasked with showing the MFPs as well, I wouldn't even mention print management. I would just demo the system, point out that the systems in our showroom are locked up so they could only be used by authorized people. And you know what? Sure kept the wear and tear down on those devices too, so we could resell them effectively when the new models came out. I do understand that resources are valuable in the showroom. I get it. PaperCut just doesn't need anything fancy to run on, though, and that's the good news. Now, obviously, you can't install it on the same box as another print management, but that's about it. And since it can be installed on any system, there can be creative ways to get your NFR installed and keep it running. One dealership that I worked at had 5 different locations, and instead of trying to network everything together, I just installed it locally on the Windows 7 PC in each showroom. I had another situation where resources were so tight, the only thing I had was a Mac kicking around that no one was using, so I set it up there. These not-for-resale or NFR licenses are special no-cost licenses for in-house used by approved PaperCut MF resellers. And it's great that PaperCut gives us so much flexibility in their use, too. The PaperCut NFR license can be used by any authorized PaperCut reseller and can be installed in showrooms, laptops, exhibitions, or trade shows, anywhere within your organization. And you know what? It's always good to use the products you sell. Now, there's no limit to the number of instances that you can use the same NFR license, like multiple showrooms, test labs, sales laptops, exhibitions. It's all internal use with your business. Here's the caveat. The NFR license should never be installed on an end user, a customer, or potential customer site. That's why we have a 40-day trial license. And you can get requests for extensions, too, if you need it. So those are what should be used for customer trials or on-site demo installs, not the NFR. All right, let's take a look at what's included with your NFR. With 200 users and 10 embedded for each MFP type, you could certainly outfit your showroom quite easily. Now, not only did I have my showroom equipped with this, but I also enforced it with the sales department so they could see how easy it is to use. And you know what? All of a sudden, their talk track started to include the fact that they have to use PaperCut at the office and how easy it is. And there's nothing like a good, honest, true statement. They just ring of sincerity. Your customers will hear that. So set up your NFR to be actually used. Don't tear it down after the demo only to have to rebuild it for the next one. That kind of sounds like the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. In any event, your data is going to continue to grow too. And you're going to have something nice to display on the dashboard. Now note there's a 6-month term on the NFR, but then you just create another one and use that one so you can keep your instance going in the showroom as long as you're a reseller of PaperCut. Now, to get your NFR license, you just go to www.acd-inc.com and select Reseller Login. Now, if you don't have an account and you'd like to become a PaperCut reseller, then just click the link that's right below that. It's Become a Reseller. If you already have an account, log into the PaperCut reseller portal with your credentials, and NFR license will be under either the ordering or the admin tabs at the top. This is where you can create and download your NFR of PaperCut MF. Select Create New NFR, add your name or something that makes the NFR identifiable to you. Then you can select Download and save the license to an appropriate location ready for uploading to your PaperCut installation. The license can be downloaded as many times as you like until it expires, as we discussed before. So your solution architects, your system engineers, technicians, they can all install the NFR version for whatever purpose they need, like demos or troubleshooting. But one more caution, you cannot install at a customer site. Please take note of that. You can also create additional user logins to the reseller portal so others in your organization will be able to download and use the same NFR license. Select the Add Remove Logins on your PaperCut reseller portal homepage. Select Create a New Login. When creating a new login, you can choose the level of access available. There's Resources Only, Resources and General Quotes, Resources, General Quotes, and Place Orders. Now take a note that selecting Resources Only provides users access to the NFR license, documentation, and downloads. This login does not provide users access to any pricing. NFRs can be hosted on existing print servers, on a VM, or on your showroom PC running Windows 10. I've set up a lot of showrooms with PaperCut running on the demo PC in the showroom. And since servers just might be needed for other software that you support, the showroom PC becomes a logical place to install PaperCut. As I mentioned before, I worked in one dealership with 5 showrooms. I just set up each one independently since I didn't have the resources for a full-scale implementation. And since PaperCut takes all of 10 to 15 minutes to upgrade, I just do a quick check of the system at each showroom in the morning, and if I needed to, run the installer while I got a cup of coffee. Depending on your setup, if you're not attaching to a domain, then you might need to create a couple of user accounts on the PaperCut PC so you can easily get to the shared PaperCut folders. Many times you may need to use IP address instead of computer names in that type of environment as well. I also set up remote desktop access to the system. So if I was at a customer site, I can remote in and show them MF features. And speaking of MF, your devices should be updated to the latest firmware, and you may require additional components depending on the OEM brand. Now make sure that the OS version is supported and patches are up to date. PaperCut can be installed on any current operating system. And as mentioned for showroom use, you may want to consider your Windows 10 PC, or maybe it's still even a Windows 7. That's okay, it's still supported. Each user has their domain or workgroup account and password. You'll probably want to select a user account to use as a test user, so make sure you have that username and password available for testing after the installation. This is important. Check that the printers are configured and work before installing PaperCut. This is best practice not only for NFRs, but for customer installations as well. I just can't stress that step enough. If your printers are currently hosted on a print server, well, maybe install the application server on that one as well. That might be the most logical place, of course, unless you're already running some other print management program. DCAs running SNMP typically do not interfere with PaperCut. Install the app server, user client, and mobility print. Ensure that mobile devices can connect to the same subnet, otherwise they won't see the published printers. Also, with the user client running, make sure to turn on the advanced client and set it to charge the personal account while allocating to a shared account. That way your client will increment as you print and the job will be tied to an account. If you have another computer in the showroom, then install the direct print monitor on a Windows computer so you can display those cues. If the other computers can't stay in the showroom, then create a couple of direct print monitors, send a couple of prints through them, and then uninstall. The DPM printers will remain in PaperCut so you can at least demonstrate what a direct connected printer looks like. Customize the user client to fit your organization. You could change the link and the text as well as background color and logo and make it fun and memorable for your customer experience. In the client software section in options, there's also one of those green question marks that you can click on to see even more customizable options. While PaperCut is great software and does so much for your customer, you could also change the look and feel all throughout the software. So like I say, make it something cool that you can relate to. Life's just too short to be so stuffy about everything. Now you'll want to turn on as many features as you can for your demos. It's better to have too much going on instead of not enough. So when you demonstrate things, you can show them the full process. Plus, it's easier to say that you can remove a feature rather than try to activate something for a demo on the fly. That doesn't always go very well. Well, let's break down each of these configurations. Print queues. I have several that I use. Some for direct prints, no pop-up, customized output drivers, etc. You can easily drop in a print script like the first recipe. It's real easy. Color print jobs require user confirmation, just so you can show how print pop-ups work. Now, don't forget to have your client running and send a color job, and then you'll see the pop-up. Now, for your NFR, name the print queues with something that makes sense to you. Don't use the default name and hope you remember the behavior you set on that queue. Name them so you'll know how they'll operate during the demo and have a few different examples set up. If you have another system around that can be set up as a site server, even better, because then you can show them what it looks like with more than one print server. And as long as you have a decent system in your showroom, you could always set up something like VirtualBox. I use that a lot. That's open source, and it's from Oracle. It's really stable, even supported by PaperCut. Set up a virtual machine with a Windows Insider version. You can get that for free. And if you keep it updated, it'll keep running as long as Microsoft keeps the program open. Plus, you're running PaperCut on the next operating system. I haven't had any problems with that either, so you'll know it works when people upgrade their systems. I use several VMs, and I turn them on and off as needed for my demos. Shared accounts, another place to have a little fun, and you'll catch your customers off guard as well. Many of mine are musicians, or even comedians, as you can see by my Three Stooges and Marx Brothers examples. Most of the time, your customer will get a kick out of the references you use, and your NFR demo will be memorable to them. That's what we're trying to do, set you apart from everyone else. You can even add a simulated payment gateway so you can demonstrate how users can add funds. I use the PayPal gateway. And essentially, all you really need to do is enable it and then add your email address. It should work. I went the extra step of making my PayPal account a merchant account, so it actually does work, but you don't have to go to that extreme. Branding is the next key element to your NFR. Again, make it fun. Many of you know I'm a rock and roll fan, so that's how my themes go. Make yours personable as well, whether it's your company, your favorite pet, I don't care. It doesn't matter as long as it's memorable. You can change the login page, the admin web interface, the user web interface, and the reports. And many MFPs can be customized as well. Check out the manual for your specific brand to see what branding is available for your login screen as well as the messages. With an NFR license, you can activate job ticketing as well. This is the cool new feature of version 18 that you can access with your NFR license, not a trial license. So why not turn it on? We have a lot of customers running it now, and once you activate it, perhaps you'll see why. And that's why I always like running a PaperCut NFR in all the showrooms I've managed, because there's so much cool stuff. Most of it you set and forget, and then you just have some fun with it. The last thing you should consider is a card reader for your MFP if you don't already have one. Yes, you'll need to purchase one, but it's a multi-purpose device. Once you get the hang of card readers, you'll find that you can actually analyze a customer's card with one of these and then use it for authentication on your device as well. If you don't use door entry cards at your dealership, then talk to your ACDI representative about purchasing a dozen cards or so for your demo room. We've got those available for you as well. Well, I know I've talked about this before, but I just have to say it again because it just works. In the showrooms that I have managed, I had PaperCut running. And most of them, it was just on the showroom PC. I'd embed the software on all the copiers. Remember, an NFR can do up to 10 devices of each manufacturer. So a customer would come in for a demo on a copier, perhaps not even looking at print management. I would just walk up to the device, point out that we're security conscious, we like to lock our copiers down, and I'd proceed to tap my badge to unlock the copier. I'll tell you what, so many copier demos started that way and suddenly turned into a solution sale with a simple introduction like that. Especially if you have the finance person and someone from IT at the demo together, then they start talking about the advantages that really this presents to both of them. It's incredible. And hopefully you'll be the first to show this to them. Then you can put the package together and present it to them, and that way you're not caught up with the, oh, you know, we can do that too thing when they see it from your competitor. I don't know. It's so easy to set up. And like I say, you can have fun with how you customize it, so why not try it? In our showrooms, it got to the point where we were putting PaperCut in with almost every MFP deal, and there were a few customers that just bought PaperCut from us today, which put us in the best position for their equipment sale tomorrow. And I'm pretty sure we batted 1,000 on those deals. So those are my stories. I'm sticking with them, and they're true. I hope you got something out of this webinar, as that's it for today. So we'll get to your questions and a trivia question in just a moment. And thanks for joining. I'm Doc Walgie for ACDI.